Hey guys, Chi here, back with the second deep depth analysis, this time into the Thunder God Charlie. I'll be covering her base stats, skills, rotations, resonate builds, best teammates, if her portraits are actually needed, and along with some other general tips. So without further ado, I'll talk about her very unique stats. Charlie has the second lowest base HP in the game, with it being 5,857. Charlie also has the second highest base attack in the game, with it being 1179. Her mental and reality defense are also on the lower end, being 486 and 410 respectively. She also has the second lowest critical technique in the game, with it being 180. These stats show that Charlie is a glass cannon that struggles with critting. This is made up with her extremely high base attack. Because of this, Charlie should be paired with characters that can increase her survivability, and she also likes characters that help her crit as she struggles without it. Charlie's kit is quite tricky to use and relies on hovering between certain HP ranges to unleash her full potential, along with having a positive status. This makes her Insight 3 a must-have for her. Her first skill, Tempest to Thee or Tornado, will deal 180% mental damage to a single target. If the caster is below 50% HP, then it will deal an extra 60%. With Portrait 3, this condition turns to below 80% HP. Her second skill, Thunder to Thee, or Thunder, will deal the same 180% mental damage to a single target, but this time, if Charlie is in a positive status, she will deal 40% extra mental damage. This turns to 60%, which is the same as the Tornado skill with Insight 2. Her ultimate is a mass attack that will cleanse all effects from the enemy. It will also deal 300% mental damage to every enemy on the field. With Portrays, this ultimate can deal up to 500% mental damage. Her Insight 1 will help solve a bit of Charlie's problem staying alive, as it will increase her critical defense by 20% and also make her take 20% less damage if she starts the round with under 50% HP. Her Insight 2 will just give her 5% extra attack, and her Insight 3 will offer a big 20% damage boost if she is above 50% HP. With Insight 1 and 3, this means Charlie will always have a positive status for the Thunder skill. Next, I'll go over her Portrays. Portrait 1 will increase the ultimate damage from 300 to 350%. Portrait 2 will increase her Thunder skill's damage to match that of the Tornado. Portrait 3 is undoubtedly the best one that Charlie has. It allows the Tornado skill to have extra damage if Charlie is below 80% HP rather than 50%. This means you can now enjoy the Insight 3 bonus and the Tornado's extra damage bonus at the same time, which increases her damage potential by a lot. Portrait 4 and Portrait 5 will both increase the ultimate damage by 75% each, to 425% and 500% respectively. These portraits will also allow Charlie to become an absolute nuke that will outdamage even a Portrait 5 Lilia. Because of this, if you have a low Portrait Charlie, you may find the damage being a bit lackluster, but you should still consider building if you need a star DPS, as you can easily get more copies later. Also, Charlie still outputs a lot of damage even with 0 portraits, and also has good utility with the Dispel ultimate, so it's fine to build here. If you manage to get P3 Charlie, then you should definitely consider building Charlie, unless you have a Lilia, as they will occupy similar roles as a star mental damage carry. If you manage to get a P4 or P5 Charlie, then she will become almost a must build for you, as she becomes an incredibly strong carry, with the added benefit of being cheaper to raise as she is only a 5-star unit. Pride1 also still recognizes Charlie as an S tier damage unit in global and in overall use, and many other tier lists recognize Charlie as close to T0, so she is quite future proof. Next, I'll go over Charlie's best Psychubes. Hopscotch will be Charlie's best in slot, but Brave New World and his Bound in Duty are also great options. Although Thunderous Applause has a picture of Charlie herself on it, it is one of the weaker options as Charlie doesn't really rely on crits for damage. Depending on Charlie's role in the team, and if the battle is expected to go on for long, then Luxurious Leecher can also be considered, and can also outperform Hopscotch in certain scenarios. Next, I'll go over Charlie's best Resonate setups. On screen is her best setups, depending on your Resonate level. If you're using Tooth Fairy with Charlie, then use the critical build or preferred attack build. Feel free to pause or screenshot and copy it in-game. I will be linking the source for these builds in the description. Next, I'll be going over her best teammates. Charlie's best teammates are quite niche, as she doesn't need damage boosts as she self-buffs with Insight 3. Because of this, people like Pickles, Sonetto, and Necrologist aren't great with her. Charlie's best support is undoubtedly Voyager. Voyager's counter can help Charlie stay alive, along with adding utilities such as Silence, Seal, Confusion, and Moxie Reduction. Although Voyager doesn't output a huge amount of damage, it's notable to mention that she also deals mental damage. You can also use a sub DPS such as Regulus or 37 when she comes out in 1.4, but Charlie outputs a lot of damage on her own, so only really consider this if you have a low portrait Charlie. Anna, another fantastic option for Charlie. She doesn't use many action points and can upgrade cards for her to nuke with. Her damage dealt buff will overlap, but she still makes a great teammate for Charlie. Another Baby Blue, who can lower damage dealt by the enemy and can also increase their damage taken and can decrease their mental defense. These two debuffs, however, are split between two skills which can make her more AP greedy, reducing overall damage. Some mentions are Twin Sleep, they lack the ability to Insight 3, and Shamane in 1.3, and 6 in 1.4. Charlie's best sustain units will be Medicine Pocket or Tooth Fairy. Medicine's high heals, sturdiness buffs, and CC can solve a lot of Charlie's survivability issues. If Tooth Fairy can sustain Charlie, then she will be Charlie's best sustain. She can cleanse all of her allies, do lots of healing, and can also lower crit res, which will help Charlie crit. She also does mental damage and a star, opening up the possibility of mono star teams. Balloon Babble are also good with Charlie, as they can both make sure Charlie stays between 50 and 80% HP. Sotheby can also control her healing with her Insight 3 and is a good option for Charlie. Any other sustain unit can also work, but these are the best in my opinion. Charlie's rotations aren't strict, but there are still some things to remember. You should always start with 2 Thunders and 1 Tornado. Make sure to use either 2 Thunders or all 3 skills to deal high burst damage on turn 1. Against smaller enemies, this will easily kill them on the first turn. Other than this, there is no strict rotation to use. A few things to note though, always use the Tornado skill if the conditions are met as indicated by the arrow on the card. Charlie will always have a positive status because of Insight 1 and 3, but she won't always be under 50 or 80% HP to trigger the Tornado's condition. You should also never try to merge 2 of Charlie's cards together unless you need to ult, as using them both separately will just do more damage. And with that, that's the end of the deep depth analysis on Charlie. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, as only 1.3% of people who watch are subscribed. If you have any feedback or questions, make sure to leave a comment. Thanks and goodbye.